When we sailed out of Southampton and we'd gone away from the docks, we were just staring, not saying a great deal. People knew that there was a job to go. It was still a very uneasy feeling. Nobody knew what was going to happen when they got down there. I was 16 and a half when I joined to do my training. I was very proud to pass out. I was very pleased to pass out. To me, passing out and being a Welsh Guard was something special. Guardsman Simon Weston. 2446 9434. 1st Battalion Welsh Guards. There was no thought of the Falklands happening then. Most of the lads who was there knew what they were doing.
Near battle to the north.
All paid to do our job. We all signed a little dotted line. So when you go to war or something like that, you've got... I don't know whether you can regret signing the dotted line. I don't. Well, I don't think I do anyway. I was 46% burns, which is 46% of my body. Some of it was deep and some of it was very deep.
Oh, no, leave, no.
Quiet, lad, but just one move, go. Beautiful, keep going. Keep going, that's lovely.
Oh.
Tuck your arms in, well done.
Down on us.
There was parts of my body burnt, my hands, my head, and my back.
Oh.
Right.
Can't they have another injection to knock me out?
You just relax into it, you'll find that it'll all settle down, you see.
Can I take no more, please? I can't take no more, please.
Let me just see if that's ready to move. Is that
No.
sore?
Yes, it's sore.
Yeah. Well, we'll leave it to soak a bit longer.
Is it any good?
Look at the back of those fingers where it's deeper, that yellow. Let's put it this way, it's not much good to you today, but it will improve.
You couldn't see or breathe for smoke. Big, thick, black clouds of smoke. You got flaming shrapnel shooting about. Turmoil and carnage up there. I know for a fact there was 3 blokes in front of me running around in flames. That's how I'm still alive, I think, it's because they took it all off me.
Right, Simon, we're just going to move the skin around your eyes to try and stretch it. Keep them there, keep them there. Now frown, frown, frown. Good. And relax.
There's a difference between looking normal and being ugly. You know what I mean? You can dream and you can wish. You know, and at the moment, the face tells its own story.
Good.
Simon Weston Your examination by the board has now been completed. The findings of the board concern the effects of your disability, which in effect means that you are unfit for further military service.
You joined the army fairly quickly from school, and the army then told you what to do. You haven't had to think of perhaps what you might be capable of from a future point of view. We've got to forget about all the problems in the past and now look at civilian life and getting yourself established as a civilian.
I haven't got a clue what I'm going to do. There's more chance of me knowing what the Pope's saying in Italian. I haven't got a clue. Not one iota. That's when the depression set in. I was like 10 bears with a sore head. I was rude. Rude to people, rude to my family. There wasn't any pleasure to be with, sort of thing. I was going from bad to worse, and I probably was offending a lot of people because of my drinking antics. I suppose at the end of the day, I was at a loss as to what to do with my life. But it did change. Seeing myself on film, drinking as heavily as I was, looking like a slob, really made me realise I was going down the tubes, really, and how fast I was going down them. And it was at this point that I knew I needed to regain confidence in myself and my own abilities. So I had the chance to go down to New Zealand on Operation Raleigh, and that helped me immensely by meeting other people. I needed to show my family that I could cope on my own, and that I was an independent person once again.
He's changed a tremendous amount. He's a different boy that went away to war. In my opinion, a much nicer boy. I think all the pain and suffering that he's been through has made him a better human being. And he's had to work hard for everything that he's achieved, especially with his hands, having to learn to adapt with his hands. He's just gone on and done things.
I suppose everybody gets the same feeling when they pass their test. It's that slight feeling of elation and relief. And I suppose for me it was such a big deal because I've been injured and not been able to drive before, you see. But when I got injured, I became very dependent on my mother because I couldn't get around on my own, really. I had to catch buses and trains and such like. I suppose it's getting out and meeting people really is the main thing that has turned everything for me, because then your confidence grows endlessly then.
Hello, Simon. Nice to meet you again.
Hello, Jane.
Welcome to the club. Hello, Simon.
Oh, when I'd left the army, there was a great void for me then. I was at a loss as to what to do with my life. I didn't know anything about charity work or being involved with charities, but I was asked down by Teignmouth Fab Club, and when he was explaining to me what Fab was, the physically handicapped and able-bodied clubs, I thought, this is something really good to be involved with.
Julie is on the council.
That's fine. Please
So,
Pleasure.
we're
I
pleased that you
admire
could join.
your determination and guts.
Thank you.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining Simon this evening. One of the things that we would like to do, apart from making him an honorary member of the Teignmouth and District Fab Club, is that he has very kindly agreed to become our president as well. We think that Simon sums up all that Fab is about. And so that we're very, very proud that he has agreed to join us in Teignmouth on a regular basis and be our president.
The Fab Clubs, for me, was probably the beginning of my ability to be able to cope with my injuries and help others along the way, if at all possible.
Chops in last time we were here, didn't we? This woman was leading me astray. And you were there as well. Oh, yes, you did.
I personally think that Fab is an excellent idea. The whole way it involves the able-bodied with a handicap.
Will you be walking after that then?
Yeah, in calipers.
In calipers? Yeah. It was better than a smack on the nose with a wet kipper, isn't it? Last time I came down with a friend, and we had such a good night. It was just nice to see some of them enjoy themselves.
You'll have to come on a Fab weekend, because they are an experience, I can tell you.
Well, I wouldn't mind, actually.
Meeting people in organisations like Fab made me realise that leaving home was the only way I was going to regain my independence, which would help me to carry on for the rest of my life.
If I could have in the army.
If I could, as I say, the same as the army, if I could have the same as that, where he said, oh, I won't see you for a few weeks, ma'am, but then there he was home every weekend with piles of washing and me complaining. I like that. But whether I'll have that or not, I don't know. I've had him, I don't know, concentrated for 5 years. And,
But it's wonderful after, you know, all the traumas we've been through, to see him so confident.
Yes, but at the same time, it's difficult for me to let go of him.
Now, you know, it's about time he went. Things haven't been easy, have they? He's been coming down to me and telling me that you're still ruling his life. You're telling him when to buy a shirt, when to buy his shoes. You know, he's 26 years of age now. I know you've done it for 5 years, and I know you were doing it for his benefit, but he's got to make his own decisions now.
I had to do it.
I realise this.
He had to have a suit, or you need a blazer, trousers, and he went along with it. Well, he goes to New Zealand, he comes back. His confidence has come back so tremendous that...
And you won't accept this, will you? You still got him as a little boy, you know.
It's difficult, yes.
Because that is the way you've had to treat him to get him better. And, you know, this isn't any good. He comes down and tells me about it all the time.
What does he say?
That he wishes you would let him grow up then. I mean...
I know. We're both, I suppose, of strong character.
Treat him as an equal, and you don't. With every one of you, I allowed you to go. I broke my heart when I closed the door behind you when you got married. But you all came back. You know, if you're going to push this, you can push him further away. You must allow him to go and have his own independence. And then he'll keep coming back and forth.
I think I'll feel better when I know that he's got a house and he's settled and a job, you know, properly, that he's earning some money. I'm gradually coming to accept it because he said he was moving away to start a new life. I cried terribly over that.
I know, but you were showing him all this emotion, and you mustn't. When I cry, I go away to cry, but you don't, you know, and then he gets guilty that he's upset you. You know, you're making him feel guilty, and you mustn't do this.
I don't know what it is. We are close. There's a bond between us, we're close, and yet when there is an argument, we pull each other apart. We hurt each other to such an extent. It is so difficult.
But I'm afraid, Pauline,
so
you know, a lot of it's your fault. You know, I'm sorry to have to say this, but I got to point it out here. On the day he does go, no tears, right? Don't make him feel... You're going to make him feel guilty that he's going, and you mustn't do that.
I think I've done that already. I've cried enough for Nelson now, as it is, but...
Yes, but you must not do that. You send him off with a smile and a wave, and that's it.
I can put the polythene then on top then, so... Okay, just to make certain... I don't know how clean it doesn't look all that clean, this stuff to me. I want to stand off, and at the same time I want to interfere. I haven't been to see the house, and I think I'll try and keep away until I'm invited up. I won't go. My mother's ready to go now, but I'm going to keep away. But it's very difficult. It's very, very difficult. But if it rings, I'll be up there tomorrow.
Come over this side.
Pull up.
Hang on. Can we see if we can jam my fingers in the door? It'd be nice.
Otherwise, I'm gonna
You
lose.
lift it up, I got it off.
I'm gonna lose more than my little finger, otherwise.
That's right. Now you can take it out, Mark. It just goes through the door.
Thanks, Mrs. McCluskey.
Oh, shit!
I could be living quite comfortably, living at Mum's home, doing nothing for the rest of my life, staying with Mum. No outgoings, all incomings. To be happy as a pig in proverbial. But it's a new life, it's a new year, it's a new start for me.
Sit on the back. We'll come back up when you get on top of it.
I know. Got all this camera. I'm responsible for my own property now. I'm responsible for my actions now. Even though when I've run out of totally nothing clean at all and I haven't washed anything and I need my washing done, Mum does all that. God rest a little fire-breathing soul.
Yeah, drive.
It's just all under there.
That's all.
Not even three-piece suite. If it was you a three-piece suite, you wouldn't do it, would you?
Will you now? Hang on, I'm gonna get some strings here.
Yeah, you want to get some more blankets?
But it was covered just now.
Oh.
Pull it back off. Hang on, let me get another blanket here.
Come on. Right, that's it. It's you a three-piece suite. I don't care.
Good. Simon, bring us out a blanket, mate.
After it's finished, I don't want to know.
I'm getting a raw deal out of this side.
Nah, you're not, Clive.
I'll drop it back to you, Teddy.
Yeah.
I got it.
Move the light shade out to the road. Mummy will be pleased if you break this.
I know.
There you go.
Take it down the side now.
You can stand up in it.
Have you got that, Teddy? Yeah, we've got quarter hour, half hour.
Clive, ask him if he wants the wallpaper off the walls.
He's not up there.
You've taken everything else.
Has he? Actually, I've got a scraper. I've got a scraper. Will that do?
My God, he didn't have any furniture before he moved in here. I got nothing left.
Ta-da, babe. Ta-da.
No, he's take that the next time.
I'll see you, Mum.
Okay, then, ta-ra.
Ta-da. I hate goodbyes. But I think it was more emotional for my family than it was actually for me.
Wave goodbye to him. Wave goodbye to him. Oh, she's going to run over here. Give me a ring if there's any problems on the way. Give me a ring. And I'll see you.
Okay. See you.
Bye-bye.
Ta-da. I mean, Liverpool for me is a great place to start out my new life. I've not left Nelson. Come a couple of 100 miles off. My heart, my soul, my life still is there. All I'm doing is extending myself spreading myself around a bit, that's all. Got a lot to give, got a lot to offer because of what's happened to me. Leaving Wales and leaving my family and leaving the village, it was a must really to get my independence because the security there was so great that you didn't really need to do anything to survive. And I just felt that I needed to break away and come and take on a new challenge. And the challenge was coming to Liverpool and setting up Western Spirit. And that came about through meeting a chap called Paul Aginski and listening to his ideas.
Morning, gentlemen. Can I help you?
When we were in New Zealand on Operation Raleigh together, we saw the people that we felt were probably getting the most out of Operation Raleigh, which were the inner city youngsters who went on it. And we said, well, why couldn't we sort of do a similar type of project, but solely for inner city youngsters to re-enthuse them? So I said to Paul, as my face is well known, you know, if I can in any way help you when we get back to Britain, I will. The main reason we've come to the post office is that they've offered me a job. And the thing we'd ideally like to come out of this situation is a sponsorship of some sort, which would help Western Spirit.
Hello, Simon. Nice to meet you. Ian Gold.
I'm very nervous about it because everything we say now could mean the future of Western Spirit, could also mean the demise of Western Spirit.
Well, the reason I asked to see you, Simon, was that a number of us in the post office saw the last documentary, and in it you said you had difficulty finding employment. Being a major employer in Merseyside, I wondered if we in the post office could help you in any way.
Well, as I said over when we had the telephone conversation, at this moment in time, I'd like to take the job, but I can't because I'm very heavily involved with a project that Paul, myself, and another lad have set up, Ben Harrison. It's called Operation Western Spirit.
If I could give you this leaflet, it explains Operation Western Spirit. Basically, it's a project which takes people away from depressed areas to benefit charities.
And is there any way we can help you?
Well, as such as at the moment we're still unfunded, so the way we were thinking, as you had already offered me a job, maybe you could pay one, perhaps 2 wages for a year, or maybe some sponsorship money, or...
Rather than an offer of some cash, Simon, which I'm sure I would consider, I assume your objective is to get known to as many influential people throughout the country as possible. And I was thinking if we produced a brochure for you, with you as the leading light in the brochure, explaining to people what Western Spirit is all about and the good work you intend doing. Does that sound like a good idea?
Sounds great to us. We must admit it's an angle we hadn't thought of.
I think that would be a better idea than a straight donation of cash from the post office.
I never thought I'd ever sit behind a desk in my whole life. I never thought I'd be sitting behind a desk going to committee meetings, you know, dressed up like a pontlot in toff. And I never thought I'd ever do that. I never thought that Simon Weston, rugby player, soldier, digger of dirt, I never thought I'd ever experienced this type of lifestyle. You know, not that this appeals to me sitting behind a desk, because it's a lot harder than it actually looks. But, yeah, it's enjoyable. It's a challenge. As long as every day is a challenge, then it's worth getting out of bed. The picking up of a phone is quite easy. But for me to pick up the phone and phone up and say, hi, my name's Simon Weston, I'm the guy from the Falklands and such like, and I'm involved in a project, is not something I'm willing to do, because that sounds like a cheap way of selling yourself. So I leave most of that to Paul. The advantage that Paul, Ben and myself have got is the obvious fact that I've been injured and people notice the name, what are they up to, listen to what you've got to say, we've sold it. You need an introduction into people. Unfortunately for me, I was injured, and that gives me the introduction in. I mean, so I'm not a religious person or anything at all, but I do believe that there was a reason why I was injured. Western Spirit needed to be formed and set up as a registered company and charity. And we really didn't have the expertise to do this on our own. So we asked some professional people to come along and form this committee and to advise us.
And perhaps I can ask the financial situation at the moment.
Right. We have a total of £400 at the moment. £150 of that was donated by the Lord Lieutenant to one of his funds, and £250 was donated by MCVS.
We are fighting hard to get money. We've got applications in everywhere. We're asking business, everybody, for money. But at the end of the day, if they don't give it, then we can't do anything about it. We can only just keep on trying.
Maybe it would be helpful to committee members if you declare how you are living at the moment. I mean, Ben?
Yeah, I'm actually being paid at the moment, so I'm in a fortunate situation.
Well, myself, I'm not actually paid at all. I'm unfunded as such. I'm just living off my pensions from the army.
And myself, I am funded by Mersey Sports to organise Outward Bounds at the moment, but that fund stops next Friday. So unless an act of God comes between now and next Friday, I'll be signing on Monday.
Are there any other issues to do with the current situation as regards the setup of the company?
There's just a timescale plan of how we see the next few months.
I've got a purpose for being around for now. I hope that Western Spirit becomes such a part of my life that maybe I won't want to look for something else. But that's if everything takes off as well as we hope it will.
The paper's really divided into two parts, with the big blank in the middle being the launch. If it takes, the top part goes up to March, which is really forming the charity, forming the structure, the legal side, how it's going to be based.
I, sitting around this table, have no idea how much money has got to be raised in the first stage and in the second stage and so on. And I think we want to have a business plan. I mean, if you go to these people this afternoon, the Lord Lieutenant, I mean, how much money do you want?
Well, to do this, to set up the charity and to run the first project, which is Operation Western Spirit, we're looking for around £500,000.
Right, where are you going to get £500,000 from?
Well, the business plan...
Sorry, how do you propose to set about getting £500,000?
Right.
Any fund provider is going to say, fine, you know, what's your credibility? Exactly. Put down a piece of paper exactly what the money's going to be spent on and what the needs are.
Does the committee think that it would be a good idea to have a draft business plan?
Western Spirit was just getting itself off the ground when the chance of this flying scholarship came up, and it was a golden opportunity I just couldn't pass up.
Right, the aim, as I put up there, is to land safely in the event of an engine failure, for whatever reason it might be.
Hopefully going to achieve my private pilot's licence, because I won a scholarship with the International Air Tattoo. It's something to be held in the memory of Douglas Barrett. So it's for disabled people or people with injuries.
Pick and plan, find your field.
If you can get in and out of an aeroplane, then you can be taught to fly. I think that's the principle behind it.
If you do happen to misjudge it, landing on somebody's house is a bit embarrassing.
Flying to me is it's a chance for me to do something on my own merit. Nobody can say, oh, you passed your pilot's license because of who you are. You pass it because you're good enough. So it means an immense amount to me. Oxford Ground, this is Golf Bravo Bravo Yankee Whiskey. Request radio check and taxi for dual local information. Alpha received.
Yankee Whiskey, Oxford Ground, taxi to the holding point, runway 02, strength 5.
Yankee Whiskey, taxi to holding point.
Yankee Whiskey, strength 5, taxi hold 02.
Yankee Whiskey, ready for departure, number 1.
Yankee Whiskey, overflying traffic on your right. Clear takeoff, the wind 0608 knots.
Clear takeoff, Yankee Whiskey.
fields, shall we, and see what sort of fields we might want to pick for our forced landing. Can you see that? There's a field down there which has just been recently cut with a little green blob in one corner. That's going in the right direction for us to land.
To start with, it was a pain in the backside because I didn't enjoy it for the first 3-4 days. But as it's gone on, it's become very, very pleasurable. I don't feel sick anymore. I felt sick as a dog for the first 3 days. And I thought, what am I doing here? I'm going to pack this in very, very soon. I'm really going to kick this into touch because I just wasn't enjoying it because I couldn't come to terms with it.
So we'd need to just slow down, use full flap and land.
Yankee Whiskey finals to land. Yankee Whiskey, clear to land, wind light and variable.
Clear land, Yankee Whiskey.
When you do your first takeoff and your first landing and your first solo, it's like passing your driving test, but more so because when you actually do that, you land an aeroplane without crashing it, and nobody can take that away from you. The actual dates for me having to go on the flying course came at a somewhat of a semi-crucial time with Western Spirit.
There shouldn't be any talking.
We'd come to the point where Paul and I were getting very frustrated in the office, so Paul said, right, let's run a course. We've got the idea, let's test it out, let's see how well it does work.
In order to successfully complete this task, all the members of your team must negotiate the obstacle course safely in the allotted time. You will all now have a disability. There's 4 different types. Some people are blind and blindfolded. Some people cannot talk. Some people cannot use their arms and they'll have plastic handcuffs on their hands that will break easily if you need to.
This exercise is all about the youngsters. It's designed to test everybody in their powers of cooperation. They're all given varying disabilities, and it's to test their teamwork and their grit, their determination, and their belief that they can do it and do it as a team.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Right, listen, everyone who's blind, pair up with someone who can see. Right? Someone who can see who is gagged, right? All the people who are gagged, pair up with a blind person. Hold on, anyone that's gagged, just take your time and stay calm.
You couldn't get round on your own. Certain disabilities could, but the others couldn't get around. If one doesn't make it, that person fails. So if that one person fails, then who failed the most? Everybody who didn't help. So you have to help.
Keep going, Craig. Craig, we keep you going. Just the way you
just go the way you're facing.
Just stay still a minute, Craig.
Keep it going, come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
Now, Danny, lift them up.
Stand up now, Carla, stand up.
I will if I can get up. I've got no arms, remember?
Come on.
Bad news for you, son.
I said all the way. Go on.
Go on.
And again.
Go on. Well done, Carla.
Oh.
Well done. Well done, Tim.
Go on, Joe.
Well done on your back, Joe.
Well done. Go on. Get yourselves under. Come on.
What?
Go on. Go on.
Come on, Tim.
Every second.
On the courses, the youngsters don't just do adventure-type projects. It's very much involved in thought-provoking events that's shown outside of their own community exactly that there are problems and people have handicaps and disabilities.
That's Jenny.
Yeah.
That's probably one of the strongest things about the Western spirit. You learn so much more about your weaker side, or what you thought was your weaker side, and find out that it's equally as strong, and you're just as capable of achieving at those levels as you are at others.
Holland, is it? That's not bad. You're getting around, you've seen more of the world than I have.
Well, we just done here, made a video of it.
It's an exercise in coping and caring with people, and finding out that people are human. Just because they're not so what we like to determine as perfect on the outside, they're quite capable and perfect on the inside.
Everyone's changed since they came on the course, noticeably, not just to themselves but to others. You know, people have come out of the shells and they'll speak openly to, to a group of people. People who were so shy that they wouldn't even speak to one person unless they knew them properly. And now they're all speaking out in groups. It just sort of brings you out of yourself by getting you to know yourself and getting you to know others as well.
All the courses have been going really, really well, but we are desperate for money. So the only way forward for us to go now is to launch it. It's a gamble that if it pays off, it'll work well, and hopefully the money will come in.
Tell me they're $2.
Just terrified I am. I mean that. I'm really, really terrified of this. But hopefully it'll turn out really good.
Hi, Nobby. Hi, Ben, how you doing? All right?
Hi, Nobby.
You little W, little W. You all right?
Yeah, good, good.
Yeah, hope it goes well today. All right.
Yeah, hopefully. We've only achieved a very, very minor part of what we want, because it's only the start. There's still so much more to be done, but this for us is a milestone.
My lords, ladies and gentlemen, there's a spirit running through the Western spirit which seems very different to anything any of us have experienced before. Perhaps it is the spirit of Simon Weston, who fought so bravely against the serious injuries which he received, which has been passed on to the young people who go away on the residential courses, more than 100 of them already, and who indeed seem to excel themselves and surprise themselves with their achievements. Many of them never believed they could do some of the things on the courses that they do, and very few of them believed that they had a major contribution to make to the problems that they find in their own communities. But they're actually working in their communities now and dealing with some of those problems. Without Simon Weston, none of us would be here today. Without the courage of Simon Weston, a lot of us would be the poorer today. And I would like to ask Simon Weston, on behalf of the charity which is named after him, to say a few words to you. My lords, ladies and gentlemen, Simon Weston.
My lords, ladies and gentlemen, the Western spirit aims to give young people the chance not only to develop their characters, but also to help the community at large. Today, in Liverpool, one of the areas which needs us most, we have already shown youngsters how to help themselves and help others. In the near future, we plan to extend our projects into Cardiff, London and Newcastle. In the longer term, we envisage developing projects in Belfast, Birmingham and Glasgow. Much depends on the support that we receive from businesses, charitable trusts and individuals. Already we have magnificent contributions, more than £50,000, but we can't survive on just that. We need a lot more. Along with my two co-founders, Paul Aginski and Ben Harrison, I would like to thank everybody for attending. It's a great boost to see everyone here, and we can only hope, with everybody's support, the Western spirit will be able to extend a helping hand to even more young people. Once again, thank you all very much for coming. As far as Western spirit goes, I would love it to see it achieve its own centre, become an accepted nationwide charity that everybody gives to. I just want to be happy, knowing that I've given other people strength and courage to go on. The ultimate thing would be to settle down one day, have a family. Whether it'll ever happen, I don't know, but can only keep on trying.
Come on, lift them up.
What's this?
Someone get
Whoa! This is a big place.